Our topic today is how can open government help improve municipal spendings? First of all, I would like to invite our speakers, Ms. Zanetta Kucharska from Municipality of Gdańsk, please. Giuseppe Arrigo from Parliament Watch Italy. And Anastasia Anoshina from Mariupol City Council, Ukraine. As Marek Komorowski mentioned in his welcome speech, City of Gdańsk is now working on building trust towards citizens. And overall, worldwide, we have a huge problem with trust. We see what is now happening in United States or Great Britain, in Romania, in Ukraine, or exactly now in Armenia. Most of these events are actually happening because of lack of trust. And by promoting open government principle, we are helping to rebuild this trust. It is very important to start from the ground. And actually cities, it's one of the first and very important steps to solve these problems. We believe that openness is actually the simple step to start rebuilding trust with all stakeholders. And I would like to welcome Ms. Zanetta to present how City of Gdańsk is working on making the city open to citizens and on their participation with citizens to actually rebuild trust. Thanks.
Hello. It's so nice to be here with you. I live in the city for a long time, and I've never been in this role to talk about things that are important to you as experts. I know you'll be talking a lot today and then working during workshops later on when we finish this session on public procurement, but let me tell you a story about about Gdańsk, but not solidarity movement. We are in a very special place, so I should mention that. But about transparency and trust that you mentioned, Victor. I'm just going to start with this, that we are aspiring to be transparent. It is very hard work, because building trust within a society where there's trust issues between the society and local governmental or national government it's hard work, everyday work. I'll start off with this. There's this guy in the city hall, and he had this ear of the mayor, and he was first the advisor of the mayor, and then he became the director of one of the departments. And he had this deep understanding how open data can actually help building this trust and can help us as the workers of the city hall to work with data and communicate between departments. So that was back in 2013 when this idea of the policy of openness, this manifesto of openness was signed by the mayor, but it was signed a year later. And the idea behind it, the manifesto, the policy of openness, came from this need to involve the citizens into city affairs. So this program was pretty revolutionary, and it didn't come easy for the organization to bring it on board. It wasn't easy because a lot of organizational things had to be reorganized, and mentality of the city hall workers had to be kind of pushed that this is something that is worth doing. And why is it worth doing? Why is data and sharing this data, putting it out there, public, important? There's three aspects that I see that are vital. First, working on fact-based information helps decision makers, directors, or, well, actually anyone who needs to take a particular decision in a city. This is important. The other thing is that when you put out data, it doesn't necessarily, I'm going to talk about open data, as in, you know, the proper structure and formats, and data as in, I'll talk about a few projects later on that are strictly connected to data, as in information. So this information is put out there, and it to public, and it just kind of shows how we're doing, how the city is performing. In what way is it step by step increasing the quality of life in the city, because this is what it's all about, increasing the quality of life. Then, obviously, second aspect of putting their data out there on the portal, say, publicly, is also for internal use. You don't have to run to your colleague and knock on the door of a different department. The data is just out there, and you work with data, as in we, as a City Hall workers, we work with data every single day. And even if we think about just a few numbers, which might be really important to the report that you're producing this day, or, I don't know, information that is needed right away, it's just out there, you don't have to look and search for it. And obviously external stakeholders. The idea behind the Manifesto of Openness was to engage them into affairs of the city. Right, let me move to this formal thing. We had to do it formally. There was this internal act, I'm lacking the word in English, zarządzanie, whatever. Directive, okay. Okay, regulation, and formal document within the City Hall. It just had to, we had strong support of the mayor. You know why? Because there was this man who talked him through this idea, and the mayor was convinced that this is something we should be doing. But there was this strong fear and strong resistance from the City Hall workers. Why do we have to do it? Why do we have to open ourselves up? This will bring us to being judged publicly, whether we're performing right or not. This is an issue. So the mental, well, using the mental word here is, yes, maybe not right, but yeah, there was this strong resistance, okay? So having this regulation regulated the way data should be structured and the way we want to release those data sets, or release something that I should be mentioning that is one of the most significant results of the openness policy in Gdańsk, the register of public spending, of expenditures. I don't know, looking at Krzysztof, are we the only city in Poland that does that? The register of, I don't even know that.
So it's like you were the first.
We were the first ones?
But I knew that the only one maintains is actually up to date. So you're still the leaders.
Okay, well, okay, we're the leaders, I was told, great. So, publishing the payment, the expenditure of every single thing that the City Hall spends on is a revolutionary thing, don't you think? Yes. Right. And also, one of the other vital results of this openness policy was Open Data Portal. There's a huge amount, I mean huge, this is a relevant word, but there's a lot of data sets that is released there. And they have this specific structure, the specific format that can be used by, viewed by anyone that has any interest in looking at it. And B, can be used by anyone who wants to work on this data and analyze it or create any kind of applications. They're free to do that. And they range from demography to quality of water, quality of air, I don't know, well, culture, cultural institutions. There's so many of them that I cannot list them, but feel welcome to look at the website. Oh, it's in Polish, so okay. Right. Out of this, as a result, there is a few applications that were created by enthusiasts who wanted to use that data, and one of the examples would be Band, which is an application where citizens can actually indicate places in the city where trees can be planted. The other application is to adopt an animal from an animal city shelter, and this is when it comes to open data. And let me tell you about a few simple projects that we did with data itself, and that we were really, kind of proud of, because they were, they have this interest of activists and people who are interested in how the city performs. And this would be the city's price list. It's a website of friendly infographics with particular spendings of. This actually shows you how much the city costs. It's like a comic book. Yes, how much does it cost to feed an animal in the Gdańsk zoo, from a small animal to an elephant who eats a lot and costs a lot. How much does it cost to, I don't know, a cost of a kid per day, a kid in the kindergarten per day? Or how much does it cost to buy a Christmas tree that is bought every year, and it's put in the main market? But there is a lot of things, and as I said, it's a comic book. So this is kind of an easy thing to see how the city functions. The other project is called Gdańsk Budget. As you know, Budget is a city of almost 500,000 inhabitants. Is that thick. It's a huge book, and I mean, you just have to know what you want to look for when you want to open this book. And this website is clearly and in a graphically attractive way shows what it's all about, the budget of the city, incomes, spendings, and it's even got a calculator where you put on your income, and then it will bring you the result of how much of your taxes go to which particular domain of city functioning. Okay. Am I running out of time? Because I can, yeah. 2 minutes. Okay. So maybe I'll just wrap off with saying that public procurement is a vital tool in creating the quality of life in the city. With 800 million euros budget, which the city holds, this is serious business to know how to. Serious business as a huge responsibility to know how to spend so much money. You have to do it in a reasonable way. You have to do it in a structured way, as in you have to think of a development of a city and where you allocate that money in a sustainable manner. And it's where this money is going is actually planned. It's all written in the document that is called Gdańsk 2030 Plus, which is a document, which is a development strategy for the city, so that we know where we're going. We know where we want to improve, which domains of a city life we want to improve, and in a particular long time horizon. What else? I guess the challenge for the future is open contracting. We're not doing it yet, and I'm sure the director who I see just across there is not looking at me, but doesn't matter. Well, he's talked about public procurement. or he will be talking later on. We are open to it. There is a lot of challenges because, as you can imagine, public spending and public procurement is extremely restricted by the law. There's no much room for experimentation, as in coming in with open data and involving stakeholders. So I guess I can conclude that we are open to that, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done, as in a formal national acts needs to be changed so that the local government has this, how do you say this? We'll have a green light to be as open in this area as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Zaneta. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your amazing experience. I'm pretty much sure that everyone has a lot of questions, especially about your creativity in interacting with citizens. But if you don't mind, we will leave questions for later. We will continue with our speakers, and then I will open floor for discussion. Does anyone know where Messina city is located in Italy, except of Giuseppe? Okay, so there are several people. It's a city on the bottom of Italy, and now there is like plus 30 degrees, sunny weather, amazing sea, great wine. So what problems could the city have? Right, like perfect life. But in fact, there are some. So I would like to give the floor to Giuseppe from a civil society perspective to explain what actually challenges do they have and how they work with cities to improve their performance. Please.
Hi everybody. First of all, thanks to IBRD and Open Contracting Partnership and all of the organizers for having me here, giving me the opportunity to share with you our pilot project and our challenges in Sicily and in Italy. I'm here to represent Parliament Watch Italy, that is a civil society organization born in 2016. We are quite young, and we are strongly focused on transparency and open government. We try day by day to bring the importance of open government and transparency and monitoring and participation inside the administration, both local and national. I decided to start with this phrase that is, now I know what it is like to be the mayor of Hiroshima after World War II. This is the phrase pronounced in 2013 from Renato Accorinti, that is the mayor in charge, that get the administration after roughly 20 years of issues in Messina administration. We have several problems with local politicians. Some of them got arrested during times, and a lot of public procurement got the wrong way. And when in 2013 our mayor came to understand what's the situation of Messina, that's the perspective we saw. Victor said we have sun, we have get great weather, we have the sea, we have the food. We have low trust in public administration. 50% of the local population are unemployed, and 60% of the graduated people, and I'm one of them, at the beginning start leaving the town to have a good job. And if not this, they are underemployed. If they are obliged to do jobs that they didn't decided to be for. And among these, we have a problem in Italy, in Sicily, and in Messina about big infrastructural project. Every highway, every railroad, every kind of infrastructural projects takes 10 times the required time. And it's a problem on two sides, because a lot of funds come in Messina, in Sicily, and they are not used properly. And citizens and companies doesn't believe that there is any opportunity to invest or to stay in Messina. So our country, our city get poorer and poorer day by day. Of course, there is a solution. We have, as I said, plenty of funds that comes to our city, our province, every 7 years from European funds, roughly 2 billion euro every 7 years. It's a lot of money. But we have two issues on this kind of this money. Only the 70% of them are really used by the municipality, and then 30% come back to Europe, because the territory, the country are not capable of using them, of reaching them, or to propose a good project that can be of value for the country. And further than this, we have another issue that the funds that we actually use are used not in a proper way. A three-year project can become easily a 10-year project. Parliament Watch Italy aims to solve this problem by scaling on a local level the Integrity Pact. Before, Eliza talked about the European Commission working to bring Integrity Pact in some project in Europe. Integrity Pact usually involves 3 players: contracting authority, contractors, and a civil society organization that has to monitor on the process. But we know that in Italy, this kind of process we believe that this kind of process can be only a part of the proper way to solve the problem about public procurement. So we decided to think about a way to structurally scale this kind of Integrity Pact and make it sustainable on a local level, where a lot of public procurement get assigned day by day and usually get no result. In this way, and thanks to the mayor and to the municipality of the last 5 years, we are at the end, so we are a bit worried because on 10 of June there will be a new election and everything can change. But we are working to make this process strongly written inside the deliberation of the municipality. So far, there is no chance that the agreement between Parliament Watch Italia and Messina can get wrong. And at the moment, the Municipality of Messina agreed officially to adopt a new model of Integrity Pact to monitor public procurements. And we have already a pilot project in which we can work. That is the building, the construction of new Palace of Justice. It's a big project. It is worth 17 million euro. And we managed to have 0.45% of this amount of funds to get to life the monitoring process we are thinking about. Why are we talking of such kind of process? What we can achieve, what we want to prove, not only to ourselves, because we are strongly believer, but also to the people, to the citizens, and to the municipalities. We want to make people understand that, and we have some proof of that. We would like to make people understand that in corrupted and slow-growing context, a kind of corruption prevention is a valuable investment for citizens, for municipalities, and for companies that live in that territory. Investing in public monitoring is not a bet. It's something that municipality can do. It's something possible, and furthermore, is really sustainable. If you invest only the 0.45%, or we will see it later, a bit more, in public monitoring, you will have several results with a little spending. And for one of the main goals we pose for this kind of work is rebuilding the trust between the citizen and the public administration. Because I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a citizen of Messina and a citizen of Italy, and so far I had some problem in believing that public administration works properly, and so I won't deal with them. I prefer work with the other private companies, while public administration has funds and could use a really high-level company. Here, a little scheme of our way of thinking in local Integrity Pact. If you see, we have 3 stakeholders, like before: contracting authority, bidders, and a contractor, and in the middle, the civil society organization. But this time is a local one, because the national civil society organization say something like Transparency International has no main role during the checking the works, but has the two kind of role. It acts as a mentor and as an advisor on local civil society organization that furthermore deals with schools, with citizens, with municipalities, with the university, with local press, local media, because all these players are the proper way to talk with the territory, with the local level of any public procurement. The main civil society organization acts as an advisor, and in this way that we thought can monitor several thousands of public procurements per year. But so far they are only assumption. We want to prove and validate such experiment. We want to demonstrate to the people, to the citizen, to the municipality, that what we are talking about work properly. And for this, we decided to include in our process the open contracting data standard that can work as a metrics, as a statistics, as a check to verify if everything works properly, but most important, if the monitored process works better than not monitored one. What are the metrics? What are the differences? If I invest a little amount of money in, if I invest a little amount of money in a monitoring process, how much can I spare from my actual public procurement? And for this reason, we still something. We are here to mentor persons and organizations that has such experience, that can bring best practice in Messina and in Italy. And we are working hardly to grow up our funds, because we make an estimation, and we need a bit more of the fund we already collected, gathered, and we want to reach 1.54% of the fund required to have a 3 years working properly project. It keeps being a little percentage, but I think, and we think, it will be really spent. Thanks.
Thank you, Giuseppe. So you heard the request. If you want to go to Messina, please chase Giuseppe. He will be happy to invite you to help to solve all these issues. Now the same question about Mariupol city. How many of you knows where is it? Yeah, you see how many Ukrainians are here in this room? Yeah. So it also situated on the sea in Ukraine. First of all, you think, okay, it's in Ukraine, probably it's much worse than Messina. But coming from jokes, it's a city which is located like 40 kilometers close to active war on east of Ukraine. It's a city which really has a lot of problems in these hard times in Ukraine, and has to change themselves to show that actually we have changed a lot in Ukraine. So I want you to welcome Anastasia, who represents Mariupol City Council and who do really amazing reforms in terms of public procurement on the local level.
So, good afternoon, everyone. It's a big honor for me to be here with you and to represent my city. So, first of all, I would like to show a brief review of my city. So, here it is.
Mariupol is a modern city on the coast of Azov Sea, where more than 500,000 of people live, and it also has become a new home for about 60,000 of new citizens. 2 years ago, Mariupol was known as a grey industrial city. Financial assets weren't invested into the infrastructure. The city was coming to the decline. Community facilities were in a horrible condition. All educational and healthcare establishments critically needed repairs. Transport infrastructure was absolutely destroyed. Today, the main tool of reforms is a strategy of development. We are making a comfortable and a successful city. Public utility services. All public utility services of Mariupol have been reformed, worthy conditions of work have been made, and an average salary has increased to 7,500 hryvnias. Transport. 80 units of a new vehicle are equipped with air conditioning, a free Wi-Fi zone and audio reporting system. New bus stop pavilions with a display board have been fixed. A new monitoring system has been opened. Safety. The number of crimes has been declined for 60%. Mariupol has got into top 10 safest city of Ukraine. New town council. 70% of town council managers have completed a competence development training. The biggest center of administration services in Donetsk region has been opened. Transparency. Mariupol has taken a leading position in a system of electronic purchases Prozoro. The economy is more than 250 million hryvnias. The United Contact Center is 15-55. More than 100,000 appeals have come during the first years of work. Responsible society. It has been created 500 OSMDs, which get cozy yards from the city and the repairs of one of the structural elements. Resettlers. The first social hostel in Ukraine has been built here. 3 new higher educational establishments that came from the Donetsk have been opened. Mariupol can have rest. MRPL City Festival has gathered dozens of outstanding musicians of the country and more than 35,000 spectators. More than 30,000 rest in a day visited Mariupol beaches. The key mission of Mariupol is to be a display of reborn Ukrainian Donbas. One of the biggest iron and steel works of Europe and sea trade port work in the city. The airport has been built and the main thing, there is the sea and the warm climate that allows to be one of the best tourist cities of the country. Mariupol is a strong, intelligent and exciting city. The city that is worth of your attention.
So, as you can see from the previous review, our city needs vital changes, and our public society needs reconsideration of views and reloading of citizens' perception of their role in the city's life. The new team came to the power after the elections in 2015, and the decision to join Prozoro was our idea. So, luckily, I was among those people who helped implemented this innovation into the works of the organizations accountable to us. So some technical, sorry. It will be automatically, yes?
That's manually, so you can just go right.
So, sorry. When we began analyzing the situations in the field of procurement, it became clear that absolutely inefficient model was functioning. So, as you can see on the slide, we have purchases that were not planned. They were carried out chaotically and non-transparently, which is why we inefficiently spent budget money. Can't understand what is.
I will change for PDF then. It will be easier because there's like you put some extra sparkles in the presentation. So. But
Yeah, it always happens with e-tools. Can you imagine how hard it works with e-procurement? Just scroll it down, I guess. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. How should I click?
Okay.
This one? Next one?
This one, please. So, sorry, one more time. Our procurements were carried out non-transparently, and actually we had the overvaluation of the market price on the average of 30%. As you can see also on the slide, the saving on the results of the procurement were zero, and the number of procurements which were carried out through the competition was only the small number from the all amount. This was indicated that the deals were concluded with the usual and so-called favorite suppliers and not taking into account the price indicator. We realized that we need to change something and that we no longer want to lose money which we could spend on more useful and necessary projects. As a part of these changes and according to our analysis, we decided to join Prozora, and Mariupol became using electronic system for procurement in 2016. We joined the Prozora, and the next our step was providing the obligatory market monitoring. Also we provided the standardization of contracts and technical specifications. We developed united catalogs of goods and services, and also we provided the system for learning our tender committees, which helps us to I'm sorry for being nervous, which helps us to improve their competence in the field of procurement. As we can see on the slide, after our joining to Prozora, we have the additional saving of 512,000 million euros. As you can see on this slide, we have implemented an algorithm of work. We adapted the business model to the terms of public procurement, and at the moment it works effectively. I want to draw your attention to the fact that one of our main achievements is the Commission of Quality Control when accepting goods, services and works. Now it is an obligatory element of each purchase. And when the system just started working, all of business who worked with the previous authorities said us that by introducing rivalry, we would kill the business, which was in fact very funny because all of us knows that business can only exist in the conditions of healthy competition. So this healthy competition we created by joining to Prozora. And just look, in January in 2016, at the beginning of the way, only 11 participants took part in tenders, and now about 700 participants submit their proposals monthly, and the total number of participants reached 5,000. So the system also gave us the opportunity to receive an additional saving in the amount of 9 million euros. And we discovered the new opportunities in this economy. So the city began developing and significantly changing. For the money saved by the procurement, the city bought new buses, new medical equipment, various infrastructure projects are being realized now, and roads are being repaired also. In addition to this, we have become more transparent in spending money, which was made our city more attractive for investments. We see the result, but we do not intend to stop. As a tool for feedback from business, Mariupol began using the Zoris monitoring portal, which enable us to establish communication between customers and participants. Also, we joined Prozora sales. Now we are not only transparently buying, but also transparently selling. Much has been done, but there is also much to do. And the most important thing that it seems to me, it is the result that we get by working together. So, as our pride and our most important achievement for the last year, we consider the jump in the rating of transparency among the cities of Ukraine. So from 58th place, Mariupol in 6 months come to the second, and 28 points turned to 61.7. Now our goal is to score 80 points for 2018. Some tools require development and deep intervention, but what we can do in a short time, we are doing now. This rating was a confirmation of the fact that we set goals and we achieved them. And our task is to change the city for better right now. We understand and accept our responsibility to create our future and meet the challenges first. Thank you for the attention.
Thank you, Anastasia. Mariupol is a really great example of how they cooperate with civil society and business to rebuild trust. Now, if you don't mind, I will steal 10 minutes out of your coffee break to give an opportunity to ask at least several questions. So if there are any to any of our speakers, you are very welcome. Yeah. Georgi.
Hi, thank you. I'm Georgi Lomtaze from Georgia, from one of the NGOs, and I thank you all for the presentations. I have a question to Giuseppe about the Integrity Pact. It's, in Georgia we have not tested Integrity Pacts yet. We're also thinking about this, but just to understand the process more better, so how does it work? The role of the civil society in terms of monitoring, and then technical aspects of verifying how the works are being done. So could you please kind of tell us more about how the process is, where you get the engineers, or who is actually doing the external monitoring of the infrastructure projects?
Do you mean in our way of thinking to Integrity Pact, or in general about Integrity Pact?
I'm talking about your project and the way you plan it.
Okay. In our case, There is, as I said, there is the contracting authority and the contractor that are the two main players, the two stakeholders of any public procurement. And these two players are inside as to be monitored by the third party supervisor that has no reason to be influenced during his activity. In our way of looking at this kind of player, this role is interpreted by a civil society organization. It can be local or it can be national, but as two kind of work to apply, to comply with. The first one is to monitor the process, to work if every formal document, every step of the decision made by the authoring contractor or by the contractor is made properly, and it's legal stuff. It's something that is strictly related to paper, to documents. Furthermore, on huge public procurement, you have the work part. You have the actual part of the work. So building something or designing something. In that case, you need some kind of technical engineer. In our scenario, we want to involve the school, the younger, to make a trust in relation with the public administration, with the low-level kind of check of fact checking, while the university, the high professional, skilled and from our university that has competencies, the skills that can allow them to comprehend, to understand what the project is about, can have their work, can check on what's happening in by two way, or as a thesis, a work of thesis, like a study made during their study in university, or being paid, involved by the civil society organization with the fund that I mentioned before. I don't know if I get the question properly.
Any other questions? Then sorry for stealing some. Oh yeah, okay, great.
Hello. So I would like to know, three of you, that what's your civil society organizations in your city or the representative in the council be part of this process, or what's their role? Because we know it's good we can engage more citizens, but the individual, they have less power to to monitor the government. That they are individuals. So I would like to know more that what's your city councils play the role in your whole cycle, right?
Okay. Maybe Anastasia?
Maybe one of the first in Ukraine who began working with civil organizations. And we have one favorite, so-called. It is the monitoring portal, the Zoro, which I mentioned in my speech. This portal helps us to provide so-called a feedback from business, to get the feedback from business. Also, every citizen who watch the procurements in Prozoro can also also leave the comment, and it also will be answered. So it is the so-called unified and universal instrument for providing the feedback.
Okay, so great experience. It's a one platform when everyone can actually interact and answer on every claim, complaint, or suggestion from citizens. If no one, yeah, there is one, please.
Hi, my question is to all three of you. And obviously, all of these projects involve a great deal of software that needs to be implemented. My question is this software open source? And if yes, where can we find it? And if not, why did you decide against open sourcing it?
Okay, sorry, I'm not a speaker, but I would like to answer about Prozoro software. It is open source. You can find it on openprocurement.org. There is Miroslav who can explain you everything, how it works, and all of our monitoring tools are also open source, so we can discuss it later. And as regard...
I answer as a developer. I can say that most of the tools about open government and transparency and monitoring are freely accessible with an open source license. And usually I think that it is because are the developers that really believe in concepts like open data or opening or making accessible the public administration. Then usually behind a tool or a software that you can find on the internet related to public monitoring or transparency, you will find an organization or a team of developers that will be really happy to help you to answer, to make a workshop with you and make understand how it can be applied on your country or in your territory.
Thank you. And if you allow the last question to close the panel to Zaneta. We all know that many governmental organizations perceive civil society organizations as troublemakers. And we heard from Zaneta that they are trying to increase interaction of citizens with their city council. And as we saw, you open a lot of data and citizens develop their own application. So my question is, do you have enough interaction, or you want your citizens to be even more active, to get more ideas, to get more applications?
I guess there's always room to no, it isn't enough. Those applications were just small examples of what can be done. And we're very open to any kind of interests. There's few initiatives where, like Civic Hub, where a group of enthusiasts spend a lot of private time talking about what can actually be done. So yeah, it isn't enough. This would be the direct answer to your question. And the more serious or more, I don't know, kind of thematic-wise, wider applications, as in applications that would have greater impact on a bigger group of citizens would be more than welcome. You just need to have this other side to want to engage and look at the data that we push out, to be out there publicly, to use it and to create something that would be of great profit to the community.
Thank you. So we wish more cities to be like Gdańsk or Mariupol, and more NGOs to be like Parliament Watch in Italy, who are cooperative, use the principle of co-governance to actually improve the efficiency of cities and our lives. Thank you everyone for attention. Good luck.